Hello my dear students. So today also we will be continuing with the awareness question answer discussion of chapter water. Okay. So let's see what are the questions. So number 1, suppose you want to dry your school uniform quickly. Would spreading it near a heater or an additive help? Give reason for your answer. Yes. If you want to dry your washed and wet school uniform quickly, then what you will do? We should always spread it near heater, because it will what? It will radiate heat, okay, and the heat which will be radiated by the heater, it will evaporate the water present in the wet cloth at a faster rate, okay, due to which it will get dry very quickly, rather than if you keep the wet cloth in a moist place, okay, with no heat around, you will find that the rate of evaporation is much slower, okay. Next, number 2, explain why if we take out a cold bottle of water from a refrigerator and keep it on a table, we notice a puddle of water around it after some time. Okay, so I think all of you have seen this fact, isn't it? Like inside the refrigerator, if you have a bottle of water, okay, and if you take it out and if you keep it outside in room temperature for some time, what you will find? You will find the droplets of water on the surface of the bottle, outside of the bottle. Now, why does this happen? Actually, air, it is present all around us, isn't it? So what happens? The air, okay, air around the bottle, it comes in contact with the cold outer surface of the bottle. Now since the bottle was kept inside the refrigerator, so its surface is much cold, okay, so the air, it comes in contact with the surface of the bottle, okay. So the air which was there in normal temperature, it was hotter, okay. So when it got in touch with the cold surface, then what happens? That air, it gets cooled, okay, and it condenses, condensation take place, okay, that is from vapor to liquid, okay, to form liquid water, which then forms a puddle of water around the bottle, okay. Same thing happens in case of means car glass during winter season, okay. If it is exposed under the sky throughout the night, or the very next morning, what you will find? You will find that the droplets of water, okay, they are present outside the glass of the car, okay. Next, number 3, in order to clean their spectacles, people often breathe out on glasses to make them wet. Explain why the spectacle glasses become wet, okay. So sometimes what do we do? Where if you put spectacles, sometimes what do? We take out our spectacles and we just breathe out on the glasses to make them wet. Why? Because the water vapor which is present in our breath, okay, that is what, since it is coming from inside our body, that is hotter, okay. So when it is coming in contact with the glass surface, okay, of the spectacle, then it is condensing to form what? To form tiny droplets of water, and that water, it is used to what? It is used to rub the spectacles, okay. Achha, next, how does the water helps in the dispersal of plants and trees? Now dispersal of plant and tree means what? Dispersal of plant and tree means scattering of seeds, okay, scattering of seeds, okay, in order to avoid the overcrowding of the growth of plant at a particular place, okay. Now the seeds of various plants and trees are located near the banks of the river and seashores, fall on the waters of river and sea. Now this water, it takes an important role in the dispersal of seed. Why? Because few seeds, like the seeds of water lily, okay, they have got a spongy outer covering, okay, so they float in the water, okay, and whereas coconut, it has got fibrous outer coat, that also floats in the water, okay. So these seeds, they float in the water and they are carried away by the water current to far away places, okay. So when these seeds, they reach the land, they germinate to produce plant and trees in that area, of course if it gets a favorable condition for the process of germination, okay. So in this way, several varieties of plants and trees, they are spread from one place to another, and a uniform natural vegetation in the environment is being maintained, okay. Now number 5, let's see what is the question number 5. How is rain useful to us? Explain with examples, okay. So how is rain useful to us? Rain, it is also a natural phenomena. So number 1 is rain, it brings relief by cooling the environment after hot summer days, okay. Suppose if it is scorching heat throughout the day. Okay, so at the end of the day, if there is a rainfall, we feel much relieved, isn't it? As because it cools down the temperature to some extent. Okay, so it brings relief during summer season. Number one. Number two, rain, it provides water in rivers and dams of hydroelectric power supply. Obviously, it recharges the water level. Okay. Next, number C, rain is also responsible for groundwater which gets stored under the surface of the earth. Now, we are using the groundwater via the hand pump and normal pump. Okay, we are withdrawing the groundwater, isn't it? So where from this groundwater, what is the source of the groundwater? Where from this groundwater gets recharged? It gets recharged from the rain. Rainwater, it percolates inside the soil, inside the ground via the soil. Okay, the pores which are present in the soil, and then what happens? It recharges the groundwater and thus it maintains the level of the groundwater. Okay. Now, what happens if it rains heavily for a long time? What damage it can do? Now, see, everything has got a prospect and consequences. Okay. Now, what happens if it rains for a long time? Okay. So, number one, heavy rains in the city areas, it leads to what? It leads to waterlogged roads and streets, as because proper drainage system is not present in towns and cities. That is the reason why in towns and cities you will find that if it rains heavily for continuous days, then what happens? The street, it gets waterlogged. Okay. This disrupts the traffic on road and it causes inconvenience to the people. Number two, the animals which are living in water, okay, they are carried away by fast flowing flood water. Okay, fast flowing water current, they are being carried away, right? So these water animals, they often get trapped on land areas when the flood water recedes. Okay, so what happens with the heavy flowing water current? Sometimes you will find that the water animal, mostly you will find the fish, they are carried away by the water current. Okay, and they get trapped on the land areas when the flood water, it recedes. Okay, and it causes what? It causes death of many aquatic animal. Okay, then heavy rain, as I said you in my previous class, that heavy rains, it affects the animals or the insect, okay, those who lives in the soil, as because what happens, since the rainwater, it occupies the spaces between the soil, so what happens, it eliminates the air out. Okay, and the soil inhabiting animals, they don't have such adaptation so that they can respire or they can take the oxygen from dissolved water. Okay, so they have to come outside. Okay, so their normal habitat, it gets disturbed. Okay, next, these are the various types of damage that can occur for heavy rains, like damage to property. Many property it damages. Okay, human life, domestic animals, standing crops and wild animals of the forest, and so on. Okay. Number 6. Why is it essential to conserve water? What are the various ways you can conserve water at home? Now, water conservation, it is a very, very important thing, isn't it? Water conservation, as because water is our natural resource. Okay, so we need to conserve water. Okay, so like we the individual, what role we can play to conserve water in our home? Number 1, like if you are opening the tap, okay, and suppose you are washing the utensils and all, don't keep the tap continuously open. Okay, just open the tap when you are rinsing the utensil, that time. Okay, number 1. Number 2, instead of having shower, okay, instead of putting on the shower, first you fill up the bucket, okay, and then you take your bath, not directly under the shower, because if you take bath directly under the shower, it leads to so many water loss. Okay, then we will wash the utensils by filling water in the basin and not under the running tap. Okay, and we will not use a full flush from the cistern in the toilet when a half flush is sufficient. So by this, instead of washing the floor, okay, with water directly, mop the floor. Okay, then suppose some other ways I am telling you, like suppose before cooking the rice, we always wash the rice, isn't it? Before cooking the vegetables, we always wash it, isn't it? Instead of throwing those water away, rather use that water for watering the potted plant. Okay, so in this way you can save so many water. Okay, so this is all about today. Thank you everyone.